The judgment of Wano was premature. I think every plot point that's led to this point in 975 was executed appropriately. One could argue it could have been better, but I think how things played out, it makes sense. This is not to downplay what Wano has been so far, because I've gone back and I've reread, chapter upon chapter, and it's better upon rereading, especially knowing the context of every situation. And for 975, I went back and I read chapter 954, Like a Dragon Given Wings. And it's somewhat tied to 975 because other than Zoro and Komurasaki or Hiyori talking about, swords and Kamamatsu and the whole Ringo stuff, we had Law versus Hawkins, and Hawkins asked Law about the alliance with Luffy. We got information on Kid and Killer as far as like how they put up a fight against Kaido after he approached them or surprised them. And something that's still lingering is how Hawkins was speaking with Law, in which he references the alliance. And he asks Law, now that you've come happily into Wano, has your opinion changed at all? And this led to a soft alliance with X Drake in some way. Then we got into the plan in regards to the symbol and how Kinemon was breaking it down. Now we know he was obviously incorrect, but Nami says here, in 954, I'm impressed all the Wano people figured it out right away. So what does it mean that the Viper has 2 extra lines, like Wiper? And Kinemon, the look on his face is one of not being too sure, but I guess with him being the de facto leader of the Scabbards at this point, he gave it his best shot. And in actuality, because he was incorrect, that saved them. So again, going back and just rereading these chapters, it gives you just such a different perspective on the arc. It makes it a lot more enjoyable. It's also crazy how they're talking about Yasu, talking about Oden, and seeing the Scabbards react to the death of these men. The words said by Kanjuro, you must be the guardian deities. It's like knowing this guy was a traitor all along. You can't help but focus on him because he was doing everything perfectly. Again, I referenced in my chapter 974 review how Kanjuro, when Kinemon was being abducted, he sacrificed himself. So Kanjuro, again, he was dedicated to his role, but in chapter 975, it all blew up in his face because Kinemon messed up, and because he messed up, it worked out. Something I forgot to mention last week about Kanjuro was not only the fact that he mentioned Yasu. Bringing him up was meant to sting the Scabbards a bit more, but Yasu and the sacrifice he made, it was rendered useless by Kanjuro last chapter. This chapter with Denjiro and everything he did, as well as Kinemon's mishap, it somehow brought back Yasu's sacrifice. Because if Yasu didn't sacrifice himself, it would not have led to the change and it would not have led to the mishap. And so therefore, indirectly, Yasu's sacrifice was for a reason. So I mention this because I remember people last chapter or the chapter before last were saying, well, Yasu's whole sacrifice is all rendered useless. Why did he do it? And now from what we see, it's back in play, or now it helped a lot. So shout out to Yasu. An amazing character, but I think I enjoyed him more after he died because we got more context to why he was around and his relationship with Oden after he died. So at the time I didn't appreciate him, but now you understand just how important he was, not only to Oden's growth, but his Scabbards as well. But again, with 954, I wonder if at some point, like in the upcoming chapters, we get something with Drake and Apu and the rest of the supernovas, because that's what 954 was. So I think that would be a great lead in to what's going on with X Drake and Apu, because I think no matter what, the supernovas are always going to be tied to each other, directly or indirectly. Also in 954, we got information that the Big Mom Pirates and the Kaido Pirates, or the Animal Kingdom Pirates as the Viz calls it, are forming an alliance. So a lot of ties to what happened in 975. With the numbers being in silhouette form as well, people have been saying, could Kanjuro have been the one to create the numbers? I don't think so at all. I think the numbers are probably Zoan's, but I'm sure we'll get more on them at some point. I think an opportunity was missed here, in which we have all the Straw Hats in one place together, and we didn't get an epic panel of all of them. Yeah, we managed to see each of them in different panels, but I think this was an opportunity to have a great, beautiful spread of all of the Straw Hats in their new attire, except Zoro, of course. He was the only one that was still in his regular attire. That would have been amazing to see, because we haven't gotten that epic panel since, what was it, Fishman Island? We need that pretty soon. The Auction House Trio, the Real Monster Trio, the True Monster Trio, Law, Kid, and Luffy. People are comparing them to Kyoshiro because Kyoshiro sliced a ship by himself and they only took out one by themselves. The simple explanation for this is that they were all competing, so therefore they were all chasing after the same ship. So it's not that they can't individually take out a ship by themselves. It was just a competition. People were also a bit displeased at how I went at Law in my last discussion about the chapter. In regards to me saying Law is trying to creep back into that trio with Luffy and Kid. People were saying Kid is the one that needs to prove himself here. And I agree, Kid does need to prove himself. However, Oda's portrayal of Law is one that shows that he was clearly beneath Luffy, not only in competitive nature, but also in ability. Personally, I think Law could be the strongest character in One Piece based on how his fruit operates, but Oda has to nerf him to make things make sense. So my comments about Law creeping into this top 3 with Kid and Luffy isn't necessarily an indictment on Law and his abilities, but strictly about portrayal. You could argue that Kid has not accomplished anything he set out to do, but there's definite portrayal between him and Luffy to be on similar levels. Of course, that will be revealed here in Wano. If it's not revealed in Wano, then it's pretty much time up for Kid and the Kid Pirates. We saw Heat and Wire. Are they going to be relevant in the arc at some point, but not major roles? We did not see Killer, but Killer probably still recovering because he was a bit beat up. So that's probably why he wasn't shown. I don't know why I assumed that Law knew about Big Mom and Kaido's alliance, but him and Kid were surprised. It wasn't a fearful surprise though. It was one of acknowledgement. Okay, it's like, now we know, so I guess now we can prepare for it. Again, I absolutely loved the trio and how they handled things here, in which everyone did things their own way with the Punk Rotten, Bounce Man, and Room. It made me think of something though, with Kid and him being able to probably hover or fly if he gets enough metal on his person. With him being able to control the magnetism, he should be able to propel himself as well. And it seems like he did something similar here to propel himself to the ship. And Luffy seemingly has gotten better in Gear 4th. I mean, this is just the natural progression of things in regards to him using his abilities. Something people always mention is Luffy's abilities fighting Doflamingo as opposed to fighting Katakuri, in which they said, well, he ran away versus Doflamingo, in which they said that Luffy needed help to get away from Doflamingo as opposed to Katakuri, in which after Gear 4th he ran away. But I always say that Luffy could have run away versus Doflamingo. He just chose not to because he was scared of what Doflamingo could do or might do at the time. The help was available, so he used it. Versus Katakuri, no one was available except Brule, so he did what he had to do there. And why are people saying Luffy got better with Gear 4th? Well, after Luffy used Bounce Man and after the ship was destroyed, in the very next panel, Luffy is shown arguing with Kid and Law, so his control has gotten better. Maybe the use of Ryo, or him learning Ryo, has improved his Haki flow, or him, controlling that Haki flow, but it's certainly an improvement that was necessary for him to even think about taking on Kaido. Everything else was pretty much straightforward in regards to the viz and the scans. I didn't notice Hyogoro when I read the scans though, but Hyogoro is here and ready to fight against Kaido and his boys, and of course Big Mom as well. I will also use these analysis to just address different things mentioned in the comment section of the early video. One of the things was the Kiyoshiro stuff, which people were arguing back and forth whether or not it was the perfect time for it. Like I said before, nothing would make sense if Kiyoshiro wasn't revealed in the previous chapters, so him being revealed early, he got a lot of the prisoners out, he saved the alliance, and he's here to help the Scabbards fight for Odin's honor and to take down Kaido. So in regards to how they did it, that's pretty clear. I addressed that in a previous video. Kinemon's reaction to everything again is amazing. Kanjuro, this is the comeuppance that was, expected and long overdue. One thing though, I hope Luffy retains his attire, this coat, even past Wano, because I just think he just looks more dignified. And it also gives off some growth with him having that coat. So I hope he keeps it, honestly. Things are certainly coming together. The alliance is ready to go. Again, I think based off of previous chapters, we could lead into the other supernovas and things going on with them. Sword as well being in Wano. There's not that many things left to be resolved. At this point, it's just about taking down Kaido and Big Mom and exactly how that would happen. So as far as my chapter rating, I would say an 8 out of 10. Very good chapter. And honestly, I can't wait for the next chapter. I'm not sure. I think we might be on break. I think the Law, Luffy, and Kid discussion is something that I definitely want to talk about because there are varying opinions on what's left for them in Wano and even beyond. So there's a lot to get to here. But guys, give me your thoughts. What do you think about the chapter? Between Law and Kid, who do you think is stronger? Because to me, I think Kid is stronger, but a lot of people feel like Law has proven himself, so therefore he should get the benefit of the doubt. A very good chapter overall. But guys, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Check me out on twitch.tv/BragoDAce for live streams so you can ask me anything and just have discussions about One Piece or whatever. Links to all of these will be in the description box down below. Thank you to my patrons as well. I appreciate you guys so much. Again, like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.